Hi, my name is Brad Constantine, and this is a podcast of the New Testament. I'll be using as the text the King James Version along with the Joseph Smith translation. Although this is not an official recording of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, every effort's been made to be as doctrinally accurate as possible. I'll also be using quotes from general authorities of the Church, the apostles and prophets, and BYU professors and others, and every word out of the Scriptures themselves. So if you're ready for a really detailed analysis of the New Testament, you've come to the right place. Welcome. Hi there, welcome back. This is going to be from Matthew chapter 14. Now this also happens to cover some of Mark 6 and also Luke chapter 9. So there's going to be some going back and forth here just a little bit. Beginning in verse 1 of Matthew, "At that time Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus, and said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him." In Mark 6, verse 15, it says, "Others said that it is Elias, and others said that it is a prophet, or as one of the prophets. But when Herod heard thereof, he said, It is John whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead." Verse 3, back in Matthew 14, verse 3, "For Herod had laid hold on John, and bound him, and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife." In Mark it says, "For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John, and bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her." Back to Matthew, chapter 14, verse 4, "But John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her." In Mark, it gives a little bit more explanation here. It says, "For John had said unto Herod, It is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. Therefore Herodias had a quarrel against him, and would have killed him, but she could not. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just man, and a holy man, and one who feared God, and observed to worship him. And when he heard him, he did many things for him, and heard him gladly." Back to Matthew chapter 14, verse 5, "When he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them, and pleased Herod." In Mark it says, "But when Herod's birthday was come, he made a supper for his lords, high captains, and chief priests of Galilee. And when the daughter of Herodias came in, and danced, and pleased Herod, and them that sat with him, the king said unto the damsel, Ask of me whatsoever thou wilt, and I will give it thee. And he sware unto her, Whatsoever thou shalt ask of me, I will give it thee, unto the half of my kingdom." Back to Matthew it says, "Whereupon," in verse 7, "Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever or whatever she would ask." Back to Mark, "And she went forth and said unto her mother, What shall I ask? And she said, The head of John the Baptist." Verse 8 of Matthew, "And she being before instructed of her mother said, Give me here John Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry, nevertheless for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given." In Mark it says, "And the king was exceeding sorry, but for his oath's sake and for their sakes which sat with him, he would not reject her." Back to Matthew, "And he sent and beheaded John in the prison." In verse 27 of Mark it says, "And immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought, and he went and beheaded him in the prison." Verse 11 of Matthew, "And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother." That sounds kind of gross, doesn't it? "And his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus." We're going to go ahead and stop here at the verse 12 of Matthew 14, because John chapter 5 picks up the chronology, and so we're going to read John chapter 5 because the rest of Matthew is part of John chapter 6. So to have some continuity here from a chronological standpoint, I'm going to stop here. So this will be Matthew 14, part 1. See you next time. Bye.